Hey guys, welcome to the Indianapolis Healthplex. I'm Master Trainer Shane Moe. This is Functional Fitness, working with therapeutic exercise today. Great to have you. I hope you're enjoying that beautiful day out there. It's awesome. It's also great, to think about our home workouts. I hope, we're really staying dedicated and focused at home. And we have so many awesome workouts to provide you. And I'm just really excited to be here with you today to talk about some more fundamentals and talk about some therapeutic exercise and functional training that's going to help prevent injuries and continue to work on your mobility and flexibility, which is so critical when you're in any kind of a sport or when you're working out and in your functional fitness overall and everyday life. So we're going to be working on different aspects of that today. And I'm going to demonstrate some exercises to work on the hip today and the Q angle from the patella to the hip. We're going to be looking at alignment. And again, I want to look at some different exercises that by varying our exercises, how they're going to impact the body differently. So really excited to put that in today. Remember, focusing on our breathing. Okay, we're focused on function, form, and technique. And we're really trying to strive to focus on 10 perfect reps when we're doing these exercises and really feeling and controlling the movement patterns, trying to prevent energy leaks or dysfunctional movement and through these correctional exercise techniques. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start today with a warm-up. Always start with that dynamic warm-up. Let's get in that anatomically correct position. So you're just pulling your scapulas or shoulder blades down and back, squeezing the glutes, open up that thoracic cavity in that chest. This is when I always tell clients, you want to work on this, 2 or 3 times a day, especially if you're in the desk. You can go into some flexion extension of the head. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and come up with the arms now, making yourself tall, stretch it out. Let's go down and get those ankles. Squat, hold that position, get that isometric hold. Gonna open up. Rotation the other side. And I'm gonna come up, all under control. So that rotation is gonna help loosen up around the core, around the trunk. Now I'm gonna go ahead and now, second style, dynamic lunge into rotation, bringing my shoulders into flexion, coming down, stretch that psoas, the hip flexor right here, open up, rotate, look up at the sky, and then come back up in that position. Good. Okay, and repeat other side. This is a great stretch for the hip and the glutes. And I take my time, I can stick that lunge. Keep that chest and head up. Rotate. Good. Come back. So those are 2 really good full body dynamic warm-ups we can do at home. I always recommend. And they're going to help kind of prime the body. Remember, the body works better when it's warmed up. Always remember to do a warm-up before you get into some of these activities. That's going to help us prevent injury. And the body's going to work better when it's warm. Okay? So we have our weights. Again, you can do these exercises today without weights. Whatever you got at home, dumbbells preferred. Okay? We're going to go back into this series. Again, we're going to be thinking about the vastus medialis obliquus right here. We're going to be thinking about tensa fasciae lata, gluteus medius, and quadratus lumborum. What we call that is the lateral chain. So I'm going to be focusing on the lateral chain a little bit more today. You hear a lot about the abs, you hear a lot about the back. Sometimes we forget that lateral chain. So we're going to work on that today. And before I get into these activities, let's go ahead and do that. Some lateral bending. This is a great exercise to do at home. Trying to kind of hit that in range. Continuous breathing. Known as the love handle area. So it's a great target area Again, if you're in sports where you have a lot of transverse plane, rotational sorts of multi-direction, you're gonna want to train your trunk. You're gonna definitely want to train that train the lateral chain to prepare yourself for some of these activities. And notice I just got a good rhythm. I'm constantly breathing. Okay, that side. We get to that frontal view. I'm not trying to force the motion. I'm just kind of coming into my in range, feeling that. Okay, so that's going to work the QL, quadratus lumborum, or the love handle. Okay, so before I get into my squat section, I'm going to go ahead and take my hands here, square up, and I'm just going to work on 10 aside. QL is the quadratus lumborum is again involved here, but we're working the tensa fasciae lata, and that's going to help strengthen that lateral chain. A real common issue with the compromised lateral chain is called IT band syndrome, and a lot of runners will experience this. It can be debilitating. The insertion is at the knee and the origin's at the hip. So you get a lot of pelvic pain and knee problems, or knee pain that can be related to the IT band syndrome. So this is a great preventative mechanism, particularly if I like to go for long runs, or if I do a lot of walking. I'll show you that from frontal view. Again, I'm staying comfortably in my range of motion. Everyone's going to have different variations of how flexible they are. I'm working within my mechanics. At home, you work in with yours. I'm just comfortable. You can really feel that muscle, which is the tensa fasciae lata, right here, located on the side of the hip. So those muscles are critical for hip stabilization. It's going to help stabilize your core and your trunk and protect, again, those knees. Remember, the body works as a chain. So a lot of our movement patterns will work together. So you've got to think about how one area of the body is going to affect another. And that's so critical through correctional exercise techniques, how we want to focus on those fundamentals and for how we can prevent some of these issues, some of this inflammation that you might experience when you're working out or you're playing sports or you're at the gym. Let's go ahead and move now. The Q angle, review Q angle, patella to the hip. Okay, and what I want to watch in this series of squatting, if I'm going to have that knee caving, or I'm going to have a varus knee, or it's going to bow out, or a valgus, or caving in. So we're looking at this Q angle from hip to knee. This is called your ASIS, anterior sphenoiliac spine, and this is your patella. So that femur, I'm watching that femur, I'm watching how the tibia and fibula rotate around the femur when I watch squats. And I'm going to see if there's any compensatory motion. So at home, thinking about holding a good position, I'm going to give you 5 here in the sagittal viewpoint. This is the closed squat position. Holding my end range, we're going to target that muscle right over the knee. And that is so critical in stabilizing the knee. Again, that's the vastus medialis obliquus. We call that the teardrop muscle. It's the big one right here. You feel at home. I'm going to show you now the frontal view. And I'm just trying to work on keeping a good position with my trunk, keeping that chest up. Chest and heads up, putting the majority of my weights through the heel. Sit back to that squat. You're going to really feel that work in a different part of the leg It's critical to work these variations of your squat. Every time we change the angle of pronation, we change the area that's being worked. And this is a way to work a lot of different areas of the body when you're at home. So even though you're not utilizing machines or you're not in the gym right now, you're focusing on different areas, they're going to help improve you overall. So that was the closed squat position. Standard squat position here. Let's put our hands or weights up here. Just by that little maneuver, we're going to change how our squat is going to occur because we're going to change the angle slightly. This is going to help activate your abdominals a little more. It's going to help you sit back a little more. So it's almost, we would call this a front squat in the gym. If you're loaded here, it's going to be a little more of a quad dominant squat. This is also known as a goblet squat. If you have a kettlebell at home, that's a great tool as well to use for this kind of squat. I'll show you front view. And then if I want to at home, I can make this a little harder just by holding that isometrically. Continually focus on my breathing. Great way to work on mobility. Really fire more quads. And to make sure I stay on my heels, getting a good range of motion on those 10. Good job. Third variation now to work more adductor and to hit that gluteus medius. Again, today, one of our special focuses today is that lateral chain. So that gluteus medius is in that lateral chain. So a review, it's the primary hip stabilizer. The sumo squat position. I'm going to take my weights or my hands here. I'm going to point those toes out. I'm getting a wider stance. Again, this is based on your flexibility and capabilities at home. And I'm going to do a wider toed out position called the sumo. Again, this is going to vary based on your flexibility, your comfort level. Some of our powerlifters we have here at the gym, fantastic, can get really wide in this position. So it just kind of varies on your flexibility and your comfort level. Make sure you pay attention to that at home. This is your frontal view. Just trying to maintain a lot of the same squat mechanics, but it's going to work different muscles. A lot more here in the lateral aspect, and the glute max and the gluteus medius. All right, so that's my 3 variations of squat. Closed in squat, front squat, then a sumo squat. Great way to train the lower extremities completely. Before I transition here, I'm going to go ahead and try to daily work in a rotational position. So here, working in that transverse plane, doing some low to high wood choppers. Then we're just trying to get the core more involved. Work some mobility. Boom, okay? So you got 10. And you'll notice when you're doing these functional movement patterns, you're working the whole body. So you're gonna burn a lot more calories that way, which is terrific for our fitness. You're gonna get the heart rate up. Working rotation the other way now. Again, My tennis players, my golfers, definitely great for your core. So rotational exercises train intrinsic muscles in the spine. They're called multifidi, and rotatories. They're little intrinsic stabilizers that wrap around the vertebrae. Hard to hit, even deeper than the spinal erectors, but when we go into rotation, they're going to help guard and protect the back from injury. All right. So just always being cognizant and aware to try to add in some kind of a rotational core exercise in each one of your workouts. I'm going to work now upper extremity, still focused on the posterior chain by altering positions in my hand placement. Review here. Pronated grip at home, pronated, neutral, and supinated. So you remember, if I'm holding a can of soup, supinated, neutral, pronated. So changing those grip placements at home are going to help you work different parts of the back. Pronated first, we're going to target upper trap, mid rhomboids. Great for posture. If you're really someone that has a lot of neck pain, headaches, if you find yourself slouching in the shoulders, this is a terrific exercise. Now, the key on this scapular retraction is to hold the end range. Again, 10 great reps with a little isometric hold at the end range is going to be better than 50 bad ones. So we're going to really work on form here. I'm going to give you 5 both ways. I'm just going to get lean in the trunk. I'm going to set the core. I'm going to come in, I'm going to squeeze. Notice I'm holding. Hold that end range, get that squeeze. You can feel those posterior muscles working. And this is, again, thinking about the rotator cuff and protecting those shoulders as well. I'm going to give you the frontal view now. Notice how I get a flat back on that round. You don't want to get in this rounded position. Set the core, pull those abs in tight, and have this position here. Get that in range, squeeze, and let it out. Taking my time, really squeezing and contracting. Feel those muscles working. Good. Again, we call that hitting our targets. You're going to get a lot more of an effective workout when you hit those targets. So always make sure and be aware of your form and ask yourself, am I swinging the weights? Am I compensating? If I'm compensating, is the weight too heavy? I always say less is better with better form than heavier weights. If you lose form and function and technique, then drop that weight and get better form. It's always better. So now we're going to go work the neutral grip now, more mid-back. And what we can do to make it a little more athletic, I'm just going to stagger, and I can use my hand here in position on this leg. I'm giving you a frontal view here. I can do a one-armed row. But what I do is I'm again holding that in range and look at that spinal twist. All of a sudden, we're incorporating a muscle that's hard to hit at home called the serratus, right under the pecs. So in those the muscles in between the rib cage, hard to hit, and it's gonna mid-back, right under the rhomboids. Okay, that's my target. I'm gonna show you from the other angle now. Watch the rotation. Again, when I rotate too, I'm working the core. Anterior external obliques are coming into play. And still today's special target, that lateral chain. Quadratus lumborum, the left hand muscles working. And you're teaching your body how to coordinate those patterns together. Okay. A little more rotation. We did that low to high wood chopper today. We did some more rotation there. All that effectively working the core and giving us a more complete, powerful workout at home. Final position now. The serratus is right here under the pecs. Kind of these muscles right here. A hard to reach muscle at home if you don't have a way to do pull-ups, or if you can't do lat pull downs at home. To hit the lats, we're going to use more of a shoulder extension, but it's also a retraction at the same time. Simply by changing our hand position, we're going to fire up those lats using that supinated grip. I'm going to turn, open those palms, and we get that hold. That's going to fire those lats. And if you really hold and squeeze, the lats are such a big, powerful muscle, you can really feel them contracting. And it's that mind to muscle connection that we always want to work on. Mind to muscle is so critical because the better you get at focusing on those muscle groups, the better your results are going to be in the gym. You're going to hit your targets better. Finally here, I want to get back to some of my finalization here in the anterior side of the body. Working on abdominals, pecs, pec major, pec minor. We're going to do 4 variations of chest, thinking about how you can do different push-ups at home. We're going to use a neutral grip, close grip first. That's going to fire the mid-chest and the triceps. So the hand placement for your push-ups is really critical. You always want to think about where your hands are positioned, and that's going to change the exercise. But I want more triceps, I can do that. I'm going to modify this first couple here because some of these exercises can be really challenging at home, and you want that reminder how to modify an exercise. I'm just going to warm them up. This is tricep mid-chest. I'm a little stronger, I can come up, pull them good, flat back. I can make things even harder. I can lift a leg and take another base of support away and make the exercise even harder, utilizing more core. And that was a real engagement for pec, major, minor, triceps. I'm going to move my hand placement out now, wider here. This is going to get more predominantly pecs, pec major, anterior deltoid. Going to work a little harder, wider chest. Again, make an exercise harder. I can alternate and fire up that core by trying to lift up one of those legs. Good. So that's wider for more chest, inside for more tricep. My chair that's ever so helpful at home, if I'm going to do what we call incline decline position, which again is going to innervate different parts of the chest. Decline is going to hit it from a inferior point of view. So lower pecs, still gonna get a lot of tricep in there. At least I what I'm doing with the chair. Have my position. Again, if I wanna hold isometrically, I can make those things harder. Focus on breathing. Really a powerful position, that decline position. Okay, and you'll find the decline position to be a little easier than the other positions, because on the decline position, I'm shortening my range of motion. Incline, more pec minor up here, and it's gonna hit some subclavius, so you're working more around the collarbone area. Anterior delts are gonna work harder on a incline position. I would say one of the most difficult ones for last, this incline position. Get on the screen so you can see me. Okay, incline press. This one takes a lot of power. It's great to do at home. Carefully coming off. I recommend that one if you're really advanced. I was speaking with a client the other day. We were talking about how can I maintain my bench press when I'm at home? Can't get to the gym. Well, those 4 variations are fantastic for breaking down a bench press into components, tricep, pec, different angles and points of view to recruit more muscle, and you're going to get stronger overall doing so. All of this is great too, all along the way, for strengthening that rotator cuff stabilization. Thank you so much today, guys. Great work. I hope you learned some new things today. And remember the importance of the lateral chain. Review QL, quadratus lumborum, tensor fasciae lata, gluteus medius. Thank you so much. We love you here at the Healthplex. Enjoy the rest of that beautiful day.